Lu Yanzheng is the youngest general of the alliance, renowned for his remarkable military achievements. Yet, he has been compelled to become my alpha. After registering our union, he discarded the flowers I had presented to him and removed his wedding ring. Coldly, he commanded, "Do not let anyone know that you are my Omega. Stay away from me and refrain from engaging in futile endeavors." Subsequently, victory was achieved in battle. Yet, he stood frozen amidst the jubilant crowd. His eyes reddened as he screamed, "Where's my Omega? He has not yet returned." The blood beneath him began to spread. I smiled weakly, as if there was no turning back. If our marriage were to be annulled upon my death, General Lu would surely find joy in that. 1. I have been shot and the blood flows rapidly from my wound. Struggling to remain upright, I lean against the wall. With great difficulty, I manage to open my medical kit and retrieve some gauze to staunch the bleeding. Even as a military medic, I never anticipated that I would need to utilize the items within my own kit. The adrenaline masks the pain. I barely manage to apply pressure to the wound beneath my ribs before I notice that I have also been hit in the thigh. My hands gradually lose their strength, and before I can properly bandage the injury on my leg, my eyelids grow heavy, making it increasingly difficult to keep them open. My body feels lighter. When I open my eyes again, I find myself inexplicably floating in midair, gazing down at a bloodied figure on the ground. For a moment, I am taken aback. I remember now. Today, our assault team was tasked with surrounding the enemy's encampment and rescuing hostages. Not long ago, they had hijacked a passenger plane carrying our military families and stolen the black box. I wonder if the young girl I just rescued has successfully reunited with Lu Yanzheng and handed him the storage device from the black box. I should check on that. I drift out of the room, heading towards the rendezvous point. In the distance, I catch sight of Lu Yanzheng, clad in deep indigo combat gear, standing at the forefront of the team. His military cap casts a shadow over half his face, revealing a chiseled jawline and a pronounced Adam's apple. Even without relying on S-rank alpha pheromones, he effortlessly exudes an aura of authority and intimidation. Where is the accompanying medic? Lu Yanzheng barks, demanding, "Step forward." In the stillness, a figure emerges from the ranks. It is Zhang Huan, another Omega medic who shares my dormitory. Lu Yanzheng approaches him, inquiring, "Where is Xiao Yu? Why has he not returned with you?" 2. Their proximity is too close for comfort. At such a distance, one can detect the scent of pheromones. The last time I was this near him, I caught a whiff of it. Fresh and profound, reminiscent of a pine forest after rain. An aroma unique to Lu Yanzheng. Zhang Huan's face flushes instantly. He replies, "I do not know." Then, in a hushed tone, he adds, "Xiao Yu has never been one to follow orders. Perhaps he fled out of fear of injury. Is that so?" Lu Yanzheng responds, his tone unwavering, before turning to walk away. I rush to catch up, tugging at his sleeve. "No, how could I possibly be a deserter? We have been married for a year now. How could he so readily believe the words of others and assume I am that kind of person?" My palms clench into fists, grasping at nothing. I am unable to reach Lu Yanzheng or explain myself to him. It is undeniable. Even after a year of marriage, Lu Yanzheng knows little about me. We rarely find ourselves alone together. Moreover, from the very beginning, he has been unwilling to embrace his role as my alpha. According to the Alliance's regulations, high-ranking officers of a certain age are mandated to be matched with an Omega possessing a high pheromone compatibility, ensuring that alphas maintain a calm and rational mindset during warfare. I, possessing a 100% match with Lu Yanzheng's pheromones, consider this a rare stroke of fortune in my life. After my father fell in battle, my mother's medical expenses have been covered by the Alliance without charge. Therefore, I would not object to whom the Council matched me with. Yet, I never anticipated that my partner would be Lu Yanzheng, the illustrious S-rank alpha who received the Presidential Medal live on official media, a paragon of heroism admired by countless individuals. On the day of our registration, I felt a mix of trepidation and joy, as if I were about to claim a grand prize. Little did I know, I would instead receive a bucket of cold water poured over my head. There was no wedding, no lifelong mark, only a chilling command. Do not let others know you are my Omega. Keep your distance and refrain from engaging in meaningless actions. I gazed at the bouquet in the trash bin, murmuring, "Yes, General Lu." Yet, before this mission, it seems I have failed to adhere to his orders. 3. The previous morning, I was seen emerging from Lu Yanzheng's single dormitory. The marks on my body could be concealed, but the thick scent of alpha pheromones that clung to me was an undeniable proclamation. The soldiers spoke fervently amongst themselves. Lu Yanzheng was furious. After training, I secluded myself in the bathroom of the dormitory, frantically typing on my phone. "Hello, General Lu, this is Xiao Yu. Handshake JPG. I am exceedingly sorry for what transpired last night and this morning. Salute JPG. Lu Yanzheng likely deemed my messages beneath his notice, for he did not respond. Undeterred, I boldly sent another message. You need not worry. If anyone raises suspicions, I shall claim I was in your dormitory discussing critical strategic intelligence. Fist bump JPG. After a tense half hour, I received a terse message. Did you forget to have your IQ measured when headquarters recruited you? His words were few and harsh. After a moment of contemplation, I confidently replied. Then I shall assert that the scent on me is from another alpha, and it absolutely will not implicate you. Striving JPG. My feet grew numb, and Lu Yanzheng did not respond again. Surely, he must have been pleased with my final suggestion. However, I soon discovered that I was being ignored. The soldiers saluted and greeted Lu Yanzheng, who acknowledged them with a nod. Yet when it came to me, he did not even offer a glance. Walking past as if I were invisible. It appeared that Lu Yanzheng remained displeased. Indeed, he was adamant about concealing our relationship from others. Yet we had already. The assembly whistle sounded, signaling the imminent commencement of the surprise mission. I traveled to the target location alongside the advance team in an armored vehicle. As the doors opened, Lu Yanzheng stood tall at the entrance, greeting each soldier who disembarked with a handshake. This was an unspoken tradition within the Alliance's army, symbolizing a safe return from the mission. I lingered at the back, wiping my palms on the front of my combat uniform and preparing for the handshake. But when my turn arrived, Lu Yanzheng's hand deftly veered away. He adjusted his military cap, fixing his gaze upon my outstretched hand and the forced smile frozen at the corner of my lips. It is indeed difficult to appease General Lu. I forced an awkward yet polite smile, balling my hand into a fist to bolster my courage. If I were to receive a handshake from Lu Yanzheng, perhaps I would not sustain any injuries? I floated before Lu Yanzheng, unbidden thoughts swirling in my mind. Xiao Yu, please respond. Lu Yanzheng called my name into the communicator. After repeating it twice, his brows furrowed, and his lips pressed together, as he heard a faint sound emanating from the communicator. 4. The wind fell silent, allowing Lu Yanzheng to hear more clearly. It was the sound of electricity. Xiao Yu, please respond. This time, Lu Yanzheng's tone had sharpened, reminiscent of how he had called my name the previous evening. In truth, his tone fluctuated several times that night. At midnight, his expression was one of shock upon witnessing my sudden intrusion into the dormitory. Then, realizing I was in a state of delirium brought on by my estrus, he attempted to rouse me with a cold voice. The seasoned general, accustomed to the chaos of battle, found himself unsuccessful. He called my name in a hushed yet stern manner, commanding me to remain still. The events unfolded too swiftly for contemplation. The mere thought of any single frame replaying in my mind made me wish to escape this planet immediately. Once I regained consciousness, I sat up amidst the disarray of my bed. The dawn was yet to break, and I found myself alone. The sound of water flowing from the washroom reached my ears. I looked up to see Lu Yanzheng's silhouette, his upper body bare, the contours of his muscles as profound as the valleys and mountains. He was meticulously rinsing his fingers, lost in his thoughts. I buried my face in the covers, my cheeks and the glands at the nape of my neck ablaze once more. After several seconds, I managed to rise, find my clothes, and approach the washroom doorway, stammering an apology. General Lu, I am truly sorry. It was unintentional. I didn't mean to. Xiao Yu, Lu Yanzheng interjected, his voice cold. I have warned you against engaging in meaningless actions. He turned off the faucet and approached me, his demeanor icy. I will not mark you, for the war shall soon conclude. At that time we will dissolve our marital ties. I understood that I had no reason to feel sorrow, yet I was unable to control myself. My throat tightened suddenly, rendering me voiceless. Lu Yanzheng had every right to be angry, for this was entirely my fault. I had not anticipated a resurgence of my estrus a day after it had seemingly ended, thus violating my promise to maintain distance from him. However, it appeared that such circumstances would not arise again, as it seemed we would not even need to undergo the process of divorce. I wondered, though, whether Lu Yanzheng would wear a scowl throughout the ceremony where he would receive his honor medal as a sacrifice to the soldiers. Surely he would decline to attend. I mused. The communicator remained silent. Lu Yanzheng clenched his teeth and issued an order. Search for and protect the hostages with all available resources. If Xiao Yu is found, bring him to me immediately. The team dispersed swiftly and methodically. Lu Yanzheng stood upon the now desolate grass, suddenly turning to face my direction, and asked, "What are you doing here?" I inhaled sharply, my eyes widening in disbelief. Had Lu Yanzheng truly seen me? General Liu, may I ask you a question? I abruptly turned to see Jiang Huan standing behind me, his gaze piercing through me and landing squarely on Lu Yanzheng. Speak, Lu Yanzheng replied coldly. There are rumors circulating that Xiao Yu is your Omega. Is it true? Jiang Huan's eyes flickered, seemingly eager for an answer yet fearful of the implications. I stood between them like a war criminal awaiting judgment. Who is spreading this? Lu Yanzheng's brows furrowed, his voice sharp. Are they seeking confinement for disseminating such baseless rumors within the alliance forces? Lu Yanzheng's anger was palpable, his tone fierce. Yet Jiang Huan appeared unfazed, even amused. He smirked and replied, I knew it couldn't be true. With that, he darted into the thicket. Leaves rustled as they brushed against my body. It was a gentle sensation, devoid of pain, yet I felt an acute embarrassment. This was to be expected, I thought. Lu Yanzheng had no obligation to reveal the truth on my behalf, even if I was mischaracterized as a wayward Omega. That was a consequence of my own making, was it not? But why had I intruded upon Lu Yanzheng's quarters during my estrus? I pondered for a long time yet found no answers, much like the night before I departed, drunk and devoid of memory. At that moment, a soldier approached, saluting Lu Yanzheng before reporting, Sir, all captured hostages have been rescued and are now prepared for transfer. My heart jolted, and I blurted out, the little girl is safe? Why had she not yet delivered the storage device to Lu Yanzheng? Had it been lost along the way? No one could provide me with an answer. Good. Lu Yanzheng replied in a deep voice. Proceed with the transfer. No, it couldn't be done yet. If we lost that little girl, it would be disastrous. I followed the soldier into the thicket but soon spotted Jiang Huan, who was crouched behind some bushes, as if he had discovered a suspicious target. Come out. Jiang Huan suddenly shouted, standing up. I can see you. Moments later, a young girl emerged from the foliage, sprinting in the opposite direction. It was her, the girl I had rescued. She was safe. A child of 6 or 7 could not outrun the trained forces of the Alliance. Within 10 meters, she was apprehended by Jiang Huan, the storage device slipping from her grasp and falling to the ground. Jiang Huan's eyes brightened as he lifted the girl, questioning, Where did you get this? The little girl, terrified, stammered, It was given to me by a brother with a Red Cross armband. He told me to give it to General Liu, but I don't know what he looks like. Are you a good person? Can you hurry and save my brother? He is hurt. Jiang Huan quickly covered her mouth with his hand, glancing around to ensure no one was watching before whispering, I know General Liu. I can deliver this to him and will go rescue that brother. But you must not tell anyone about what happened today. Okay? The girl nodded, and only then did Jiang Huan remove his hand. He handed the girl over to the officer in charge of the hostages and headed towards Lu Yanzheng. Soon, she would be safe, I thought. General! Jiang Huan shouted excitedly, waving his arms. He rushed to Lu Yanzheng, forgetting to salute. I found the storage device from the black box. Lu Yanzheng's expression shifted, and he took it from Jiang Huan, asking urgently, Where did you find it? Did Xiao Yu bring it back? No, Jiang Huan hesitated before whispering. I discovered it just now at the firefight scene. It might have been left behind by retreating enemy forces. Jiang Huan! I rushed in front of him, astonished, and exclaimed, Why are you lying? Lu Yanzheng! Don't believe him. Lu Yanzheng's expression darkened as he regarded Jiang Huan. Is that so? It seems you've had good fortune. He pocketed the storage device and inquired, Any news regarding Dr. Qiao? Jiang Huan remained silent for several seconds before finally shaking his head. None. The previous night, upon returning from Lu Yanzheng's quarters, I encountered Jiang Huan. His eyes were wide with astonishment as he glanced back toward the end of the stairs. The lower levels housed only alphas, including Lu Yanzheng. He had never spoken much to me, and now, as if to avoid suspicion, he quickly averted his gaze and departed. Upon returning to my dormitory, he informed me, in the span of just half an hour, the entire team is discussing what transpired today. Jiang Huan was furious. Some are even saying you came from General Liu's room. The general is known for his integrity. You better confess to everyone immediately and not tarnish his reputation. So, this was Jiang Huan's motive for concealing the truth? He despised me, thus wishing for my neglect? Yet now, these considerations seemed trivial, for it appeared I had already lost any chance of survival. Is there anything else? Lu Yanzheng inquired of Jiang Huan. Jiang Huan lifted his head and said, General, I have located the storage device. If this is considered a merit, may I pose a question to you? Lu Yanzheng replied, Ask away. What kind of Omega do you intend to marry in the future? Upon finishing his words, a sudden uproar erupted in the distance. It was the joyful reunion of the rescued military families with their loved ones. The uncontrollable cries and laughter intertwined, stirring deep emotions within. Lu Yanzheng gazed towards the source of the sound, his expression softening. Someone I truly like, I suppose. Logically, he should not be saddened. For I had always known that I was not the one Lu Yanzheng cherished. My inherent optimism led me to believe that after a prolonged period of understanding and companionship, there would come a day when Lu Yanzheng would acknowledge and accept me. But now, at the moment I heard him express his desire to marry someone he adored, I was abruptly struck by the realization that I seemed to have become an obstacle to Lu Yanzheng's happiness. He could have found his ideal Omega, experienced love, proposed, and marked a lifetime together, infusing each traditional step with a sense of ceremony, rather than being forcibly matched to me as his alpha and compelled to endure an unmerited sense of regret. It was time to relinquish my desires, I told myself. Wanting less would likely lead to fewer heartaches. The clamor soon subsided. The captain approached to report, "General Lu, all personnel have assembled. Shall we return to the base? Please advise." Lu Yanzheng nodded and picked up the communicator, seemingly having lost his patience. "Xiao Yu, I sincerely hope you are not attempting to capture my attention in this manner. It is not too late to return now. If I catch you, you will be expelled from the Alliance Army." The communicator remained silent. Lu Yanzheng instructed the captain, "Take the team and their families back to the base. The rest will accompany me into the camp to search for him." "General," Zhang Huan exclaimed excitedly, "not following the route provided by the informant may lead to traps or bombs. It's too dangerous. Xiao Yu is not worth this risk." "Zhang Huan," Lu Yanzheng interrupted him sternly, declaring, "Speak another word, and you shall return to confinement." Zhang Huan's eyes instantly turned red. He pressed his lips together and ceased speaking, merely trailing behind Lu Yanzheng into the camp. Just as we were about to enter the camp's entrance, we encountered the returning team. As we brushed past, a little girl at the end of the line suddenly turned and ran over, tugging at Lu Yanzheng's sleeve. "You are General Lu, aren't you?" she inquired, looking up at him with timid yet determined eyes. Lu Yanzheng knelt to meet her gaze and replied, "Indeed." The little girl stuffed something clenched in her palm into Lu Yanzheng's hand, saying, "This was stuck to my brother's clothes. He made me wear it and wouldn't let me take it off. Then he got hurt and bled a lot." Her voice grew softer, eyes glistening with tears as she asked, "You found him, right? He didn't die, did he?" Lu Yanzheng glanced at the black vest she wore, a look of unprecedented confusion crossing his face. He then unfolded the cloth in his hand. A military dog tag adhered to a bulletproof vest, bearing the number 96,511. Lu Yanzheng's fingertips suddenly trembled as he uttered my name in a barely audible and incredulous tone. "Xiao Yu, where is he?" Lu Yanzheng abruptly grasped the little girl's shoulders, his urgency rendering him nearly incoherent as he questioned, "Where was he injured?" The girl began to cry, shaking her head as she replied, "I don't know. He was covered in blood, lying on the ground and couldn't get up." Tears streamed down her face as she shouted at Zhang Huan, "You're lying. You said you would save my brother. You didn't do it at all. Give me back my brother's treasure." Lu Yanzheng furrowed his brow and asked, "What treasure?" "It's a small, hard piece of board. My brother said it contained something important, and I was supposed to bring it to you." Lu Yanzheng's head shot up, his eyes ablaze with fury. He fixed his gaze on Zhang Huan and roared, "Everyone, stay close to me. Into the camp, quickly." They moved swiftly, with Lu Yanzheng carrying the little girl at the front. After navigating a few improvised traps, Lu Yanzheng came to a halt, gently panting as he asked the girl in his arms, "Do you remember the escape route?" Following the girl's gaze, I saw a labyrinthine neighborhood of houses, tightly clustered and painted in muted hues of yellow. Most walls were riddled with bullet holes and damage. The desolate wind swept through, resembling a graveyard. "What should we do?" The little girl began to cry again. I didn't remember. The neighborhood was laden with landmines and bombs. To enter recklessly would mean certain death. This was likely why the enemy had not pursued me to silence me. Lu Yanzheng entrusted the girl to a soldier, instructing them to wait in place. "I will find him," he turned back, his expression serious and earnest. "Do not cry." I watched him dash into the winding path, yet in my mind's eye, the image of Lu Yanzheng as a youth surfaced. "Do not cry." He had once said this to me as well. Our first encounter had not been pleasant. That day, I received a military flag, neatly folded within a square wooden box, standing in for my father's ashes. My mother was ill in the hospital. At the age of 10, I was alone, seated beside a flower bed at the hospital entrance, clutching the box. I needed to finish crying quickly so I could leave the box with the doctor and return to my mother's side. But halfway through my tears, A boy stood before me, his tone brusque as he said, "Do not cry." He appeared to be a few years my senior, clad in an outfit strikingly similar to a military uniform, his black shoes polished to a shine. The boy wore a serious expression, earnestly stating, "Your father is a hero. You should be proud of him." I nodded, yet tears continued to flow uncontrollably. The boy furrowed his brow, as if confronted with a dilemma, hesitantly raising his hand to wipe my tears. Yanzheng. Upon hearing his name, he turned and dashed towards the military vehicle parked at the hospital entrance, where the officer who had come to deliver the flag awaited. What should have been a brief and ordinary encounter was one he would likely forget in no time, yet it replayed in my memory countless times, until the image of that boy merged with the figure now traversing the winding path. He was about to depart once more, I thought. However, this time it was I who would leave. Yanzheng continued to run, searching room by room. Just as he reached the edge of the neighborhood, a thunderous explosion erupted. A landmine had detonated. Dust was quickly whisked away by the wind, revealing Yanzheng's soiled and astonished face. He glanced at the low house with its walls blown apart, struggling to rise yet collapsing again. A stream of blood trickled down his forehead. Yanzheng, oblivious to his injuries, stumbled inside, falling to his knees before my body. He had found me. I could not tell if it was too late. If the images of Yanzheng stored in my mind were to be developed into photographs, they might be categorized into two distinct expressions: the stern, solemn officer Yanzheng, and the alpha Yanzheng, who, despite engaging in intimate acts, was perpetually vexed by my antics. Yet now, he displayed a countenance I had never witnessed before, eyes wide with bewilderment, lips and fingertips trembling. This was a manifestation of fear. Could it be that Yanzheng, who had faced death numerous times, could also experience terror? He raised his hand but hesitated to touch me. My body lay against the wall, blood pooling beneath me, devoid of any signs of life. According to the usual protocol, Yanzheng should have confirmed my demise by assessing my breathing and palpating my carotid artery. However, he bypassed these steps entirely. Instead, he utilized the bandages nearby to staunch the bleeding from my leg injury, and then lifted me effortlessly into his arms, racing back along the path we had traversed. We quickly exited the residential area. The armored vehicle that had been waiting arrived at the camp entrance. Just as Yanzheng placed my body onto the stretcher within the vehicle, Jiang Huan lunged forward, eager to examine my wounds. "Get away," Yanzheng growled, shoving him aside like a feral beast. "You shall not lay a finger on him." Jiang Huan fell back onto the ground, his voice choked with emotion. "He needs a coagulant." The armored vehicle sped toward the base. The jarring motion caused my body to sway uncontrollably. Yanzheng snatched the coagulant from Jiang Huan's hand and cradled my head gently in his arms. He then retrieved scissors from the medical kit to cut away my clothing, revealing wounds that had been crudely stuffed. After years of military service, Yanzheng had become adept at tending to the injured. Yet, as he sprayed antiseptic and sprinkled powder, his unsteady hands resulted in considerable waste. The atmosphere inside the vehicle was oppressive and heavy. No soldier dared to utter a word. Only a small girl, trembling, broke the silence with a quavering voice. "Will my brother die? Did he die because he saved me?" "No," Yanzheng murmured softly, his head bowed. "He will not die." I sat beside the sobbing girl, longing to reassure her that my injury was not her fault. At that moment, most of the enemy forces had been captured, and the hostages had already been evacuated from the camp. After performing a hasty bandage on a soldier with a leg injury, I discovered the little girl in a cluttered low house. She was terrified, having forgotten her own name. I told her that if she could muster a bit more courage, the nightmare would soon end. I removed my bulletproof vest and draped it over her, inquiring if there were any others hiding nearby. After a moment's thought, she mentioned a few bad men who remained behind, using loud machinery to cut things, unable to flee, and hiding in a nearby house. The black box was cumbersome to carry. They must have been using a chainsaw to cut it open and extract the storage device. I intended to escort the girl out before reporting the situation, but I happened upon those individuals fleeing in the opposite direction with the storage device. The device contained the flight routes to various bases and precise base coordinates. It must not fall into enemy hands. Without a second thought, I opened fire. After securing the storage device, several enemy combatants suddenly returned to mount an attack. Outnumbered, I exhausted my ammunition, retreating with the girl deeper into the residential area. I was subsequently shot in the ribs and thigh. We managed to hide in a low house, evading further pursuit. I attempted to contact Yanzheng, but it seemed the camp was under a signal jamming, rendering my communicator utterly useless. The child's light weight made her less likely to trigger any explosives. I entrusted the storage device to her, instructing her to escape through the window, flee the camp and find General Liu. What does General Liu look like? The girl asked, anxious and timid. I felt the blood flow from my wounds but had yet to register the pain. I smiled faintly and whispered, tallest, handsomest, yet the unhappiest alpha you could imagine. Why is he unhappy? Because of me. I began to feel a chill and added, he is angry with me and has yet to forgive me. Thus, he refuses to spare me a glance, to speak with me, or to shake my hand. The armored vehicle arrived directly at the base hospital. Several military doctors awaited at the entrance, swiftly ushering my body into the emergency room. Lu Yanzheng, drenched in blood, stood rigidly outside the door. After a brief moment, a small group of people suddenly surged into the adjacent ward area. It was some of the military families we had rescued. Numerous bandaged soldiers emerged from their rooms, joyously embracing their omegas. The corridor soon overflowed with couples reuniting, filled with laughter and tears. An alpha voiced his gratitude to the heavens, kissing the omega in his arms, proclaiming, thank goodness you are safe. You have returned. The atmosphere of joy and warmth seemed to be separated by an invisible wall. Lu Yanzheng stood there, staring blankly at them, before suddenly collapsing to his knees with a pained, hoarse whimper. What about my omega? Xiao Yu, do not leave me, I beg you. A nearby soldier displayed a look of shock. Jiang Huan's eyes widened in disbelief as he stepped back, hitting the wall behind him, shaking his head. This cannot be. Lu Yanzheng sprang to his feet, pinning Jiang Huan against the wall with his elbow, growling fiercely, you had better pray that Xiao Yu is unharmed. Otherwise, I will see to your demise. He released Jiang Huan only when he observed the color drain from his face, turning from pale to a deep purple. Several soldiers rushed over, lifting the coughing Jiang Huan from the ground and escorting him away. I gazed at the taut figure of Lu Yanzheng, my confusion deepening. Was he truly concerned for me? But why? Lu Yanzheng had witnessed many sacrifices. Thus, he often maintained his composure in the face of a soldier's death, rarely displaying excessive sorrow. Moreover, I was merely his nominal omega. He did not love me, did he? Are you angry again? The little girl looked up at Lu Yanzheng, innocently inquiring. Lu Yanzheng appeared not to comprehend, asking hoarsely, what? My brother said you were angry with him, that you were unhappy. The girl continued, when you are angry, do you treat him like this? Lu Yanzheng turned his gaze toward her, his complexion paling. After a moment, he redirected his attention to the emergency room door, his eyes reddening. No, he said softly, I am not angry with him. I simply do not understand myself, which is why. He fell silent, his throat constricting as he swallowed hard. When I see him again, I will tell him that, actually. General. The emergency room door suddenly swung open, a doctor rushing out to interrupt him. Xiao, you may not hold on much longer. Can you please expedite notification of his relatives? Lu Yanzheng froze, murmuring, how can he not hold on? How can this be? The doctor, puzzled by the general's unusual reaction, reiterated, his heartbeat has already ceased, but we will continue resuscitation for another 40 minutes. His heartbeat has ceased? I am about to depart. I glanced at Lu Yanzheng, finding him staring blankly at the emergency room door. Suddenly, I perceived a pale blue aura emanating from his body. Lu Yanzheng's breathing quickened, and his complexion deepened in hue, as if he were aflame. Soon, the corridor began to stir. Beta doctors and nurses hurriedly guided alphas and omegas down the stairs. As a mere spirit, I could not smell, but I could see the invisible pheromone particles. Lu Yanzheng was experiencing a severe heat phase. Within a minute, the pale blue glow transformed into deep blue flames, seemingly ready to engulf him in their blaze. He faltered, gritting his teeth and collapsing to the ground. A beta doctor approached to administer a suppressant, but Lu Yanzheng, in a frenzy, flung the individual several meters away. He rose to his feet and slowly advanced toward the emergency room, ultimately halting at the doorway, pressing his forehead heavily against it. With a near-pleading roar, he cried, Xiao Yu, please give me one more chance. In that instant, I seemed to catch a whiff of a faint pine scent. My spirit felt lighter, the aroma of a rain-soaked pine forest growing increasingly potent. The next moment, I was drawn into a vortex of darkness. Lu Yanzheng finally succumbed to unconsciousness. Like a wild beast, he was forcibly restrained and injected with a potent suppressor, then bound to the hospital bed in the isolation chamber. Most of the time, he writhed in agitation, intermittently slipping into fragmented dreams. He dreamt of his childhood, when his father took him to the military camp, where he, in naive language, vowed to become a soldier. The scene shifted. Lu Yanzheng found himself as a teenager, witnessing a small boy sitting silently by the flower bed in the hospital, tears streaming down his pale, slender face, cradling a dark wooden box that symbolized sacrifice. Attempting to console him for the first time, Lu Yanzheng fumbled, delivering his words of comfort with solemnity and stiffness. He had come to hand over the box on behalf of his father, a senior colonel, and thus understood the boy's sorrow. Yet, as an alpha, he inherently lacked empathy. Believing he comprehended the harshness of war, he pompously urged the boy to feel pride for his deceased loved ones. Ironically, shortly after Lu Yanzheng enlisted, his mother passed away at home, just as the war began. The servants of the Lu family scattered in fear, leaving Lu Yanzheng and his father preoccupied on the battlefield. The news of his mother's death reached him only during a ceasefire, a month later. Gazing at the ruins outside, he was confronted with the brutal reality of war, a monstrous entity disrupting the order of the world, indiscriminately trampling upon every life. Why had he failed to care for his mother? Overwhelmed with guilt, Lu Yanzheng made a resolution. After the war, he would retire and tend to his mother's grave for a decade. His father, upon learning of this, did not hasten to prevent him. However, soon after, he received a mandatory matching notification from the Alliance Council. Lu Yanzheng understood that his father intended to tether him with the pheromones of an omega, hence his resistance towards Xiaoyu, deliberately neglecting him and even uttering hurtful words. This was far preferable to losing both his father and a husband, he reasoned. It seemed that matters were gradually veering off course. Lu Yanzheng could not pinpoint when he began to take notice of Xiaoyu. He merely recalled the night before his departure vividly. At the banquet, Xiaoyu, intoxicated, approached him in the dimly lit corridor behind the venue, blocking the exit of an alpha who was leaving early. Perhaps it was the liquor that emboldened him. The omega, cheeks flushed, slurred, "You toasted with everyone else, yet you haven't toasted with me." Lu Yanzheng stood silently before him, inhaling the mingled scent of honeysuckle pheromones and faint alcohol. The alpha furrowed his brow, gravely admonishing, "You must stop drinking." "Oh," the omega replied dully, then slowly approached. The corridor was dim, with moonlight filtering through the entwined vines, illuminating Xiaoyu's face. He halted, standing perilously close to Lu Yanzheng, defiantly disregarding the general's postmarital command. Yet the general neither reprimanded him nor retreated, for he saw the moisture in Xiaoyu's eyes, tears pooling without falling, merely glistening as they threatened to spill over. With a blink, Lu Yanzheng's reflection became clear in those eyes, only to quickly dissolve into a blur. Xiaoyu's long lashes fluttered slowly, casting shadows on his pristine face. When the music in the hall paused, Xiaoyu closed his eyes, gradually leaning closer to Lu Yanzheng, tilting his head to press his soft, trembling lips against Lu Yanzheng's cheek. As Lu Yanzheng slightly turned his head, Xiaoyu kissed his lips. Xiaoyu grasped his arm, but did not apply pressure. Lu Yanzheng did not resist, allowing Xiaoyu to mark himself with the scent of honeysuckle through his clumsy, slow, and awkward movements. Similarly, Xiaoyu's body became imbued with a rich pine aroma. Shortly thereafter, Xiaoyu, driven by desire, burst into his room. The omega, oblivious to the events that transpired while intoxicated, found himself perplexed as to why he felt an inexplicable urge to seek out Lu Yanzheng. Yet Lu Yanzheng understood. The pheromones, perfectly matched, had been sown in Xiaoyu's body on the eve of departure, and once desire arose, his body instinctively guided him to the alpha's side. Just as Lu Yanzheng in the dream prepared to explain, the scene morphed into an enemy camp in the woods, where soldiers cheered for victory. Alphas embraced their omegas, yet he stood out, isolated and rigid amidst the throng. With reddened eyes, he finally screamed in agony, "Where is my omega? He has not returned." In the chaos, I seemed to hear a low, anguished roar multiple times. Upon opening my eyes, my brain sluggishly resumed function like a machine restarting. A white ceiling came into view, along with a face that had appeared in distant memories. "Dr. Chow," he said in a deep voice, "you have finally awakened." I stared blankly at the insignia on his uniform, taking a moment to recognize him as the commander of the army, Lu Zhanqing, the man who had once entrusted me with the wooden box containing the military flag, and also Lu Yanzheng's father. I wanted to greet him, but only managed to move my lips, unable to produce sound. Commander Lu sat down in the chair beside the bed and spoke. "You retrieved the storage device. Achieving great merit. You may make a request to the Alliance military. Speak freely, even if it means letting that rascal Lu Yanzheng take a month off to care for you." I blinked slowly, hearing a commotion from the adjacent hospital room. When the door burst open, I summoned what little strength I had and hoarsely stated, "I wish to end my marriage with General Lu." The person who barged in seemed momentarily stunned, hesitating before stumbling inside to stand before me. I could hardly recognize Lu Yanzheng. His eyes were bloodshot, his face terrifyingly pale, his stubble suggesting he had not shaved in days. The scent of his pheromones was faint, almost undetectable. Commander Lu frowned at him and inquired, "Why? Is that rascal treating you poorly? I'll sort him out." "No," I replied, not wanting to trouble Lu Yanzheng. I hastily conjured a lie. "It's me. I want to marry someone I love." Commander Lu's expression darkened, and he finally refrained from further comment. Thus, I turned my gaze toward Lu Yanzheng, forcing a shallow smile beneath the oxygen mask, silently reassuring him. "It's all right. I'll handle this." This way, Commander Lu wouldn't be angry with him, and I could freely remarry when I encountered someone I liked. "It's all right," I reassured myself once more. Commander Lu seemed to acquiesce to my request. Strangely, however, Lu Yanzheng did not exhibit relief or joy. He arranged the hospital bed in my room, diligently administering suppressants daily. He took full charge of my daily needs, feeding, hydrating, cleaning, and caring for me with a meticulousness that even surpassed that of the attendants. When removing the drainage tube or changing the dressings, Lu Yanzheng would carefully release a measured amount of pheromones to soothe my pain. Perhaps it was a sense of responsibility towards a legally recognized omega that compelled him. I rationalized Lu Yanzheng's unusual behavior, telling myself, this is what every alpha would do. There is nothing extraordinary about it. In the dead of night, I awoke to find Lu Yanzheng quietly watching me, his expression complex, as if counting my breaths to confirm I was indeed alive. The air hung heavy for half a minute before Lu Yanzheng broke the silence, asking, "Is there anywhere uncomfortable?" I shook my head, then gazed at the ceiling, softly uttering, "General Lu, there is truly no need for this. The request for divorce was made of my own volition, and was not prompted by your words that morning." Lu Yanzheng straightened his posture, furrowing his brow and regarding me with a serious expression, which made me feel as though I was attempting to obscure something. Struggling to rise, I insisted, "It's true. There is no need to wait until the war is over. It can be done tomorrow. Do not move." Lu Yanzheng approached and pressed his hand upon my shoulder, compelling me to recline back onto the hospital bed. His palm was large, dry, and marked by the calluses of a soldier. The sensation and warmth radiated through my hospital gown and onto my skin, causing my shoulders and face to flush. After observing my face for a moment, Lu Yanzheng suddenly inquired, "Are you running a fever?" He then placed his entire palm across my forehead. His hand was so large that it nearly covered half my face, and it lingered there for quite some time. I dared not move and, feeling somewhat uneasy, remarked, "Your hand is too warm. I can't feel anything. So please remove it, General Lu." "Is that so?" His voice was deep, resonating closely above me, almost numbing my ears. At last, his hand withdrew, but a greater shadow fell over me as Lu Yanzheng leaned down and kissed my temple. I froze on the bed, quickly dismissing my own thoughts. How could he possibly kiss me? Surely he was merely checking my temperature with his lips. Yet, the duration of this test seemed excessive. I cautiously blinked and said, "I'm not feverish." Fortunately, Lu Yanzheng finally stood up, allowing my breathing to return to normal. "You must be busy. You need not stay here to care for me. I will not retract my request for divorce, so you need not continue fulfilling your duties as an alpha." Lu Yanzheng lowered his gaze to me, patiently listening to my words. However, his expression soon darkened. "Are you urging me to leave?" I dared not meet his gaze any longer and, feeling increasingly drowsy, merely half closed my eyes and shook my head. "Everything can wait until you have recovered and been discharged." Lu Yanzheng lowered his voice, saying, "Sleep." The scent of pine after rain wafted from him, gently enveloping me and robbing me of my ability to counter his presence, allowing me to drift off into a peaceful slumber. A month later, upon returning to the dormitory, I was astonished to find that it housed 2 alpha soldiers. Lu Yanzheng appeared from behind, carrying some belongings, and informed me, "Military dependents have arrived, so the accommodations have been adjusted." Then where is my current dormitory? Perhaps due to his leg injury not yet healed. Lu Yanzheng supported my arm as he guided me up the stairs, stating, "From now on, you will reside with me." I halted at the staircase landing, turning to face Lu Yanzheng, who towered over me, his gaze looking down to meet mine. Gently, I extricated my arm from his grasp and ascended another step, meeting his eyes levelly. "That is not permissible." Lu Yanzheng gazed down at his empty palm, momentarily taken aback, before solemnly asking why. The early autumn sunlight filtered through the window at the staircase turn, casting half his face in shadow created by his prominent nose, obscuring his expression. In the past, I would have trembled at such a question, but now I felt a surge of courage. I replied, we are soon to dissolve our marital bond. Living together would be inconvenient. Having already been compelled to accompany me in the hospital for so long, returning to cohabitate would surely be torturous for him. Furthermore, I did not wish to be governed by his pheromones any longer. Lu Yanzheng slowly lowered his hand, clenching it into a fist at his side. Looking away, he stated, however, the dormitory apartments are currently fully occupied, and there are no extra rooms available. Observing his profile, I replied, that is quite all right. It is still early. I can go to the city and find a hotel for the night. My leg will no longer bear weight training, so I applied for a position at the military hospital in the city center while I was hospitalized, and I will be starting soon. Watching Lu Yanzheng's astonished expression, I smiled calmly and reached for the luggage in his grasp, asking, could you arrange for a vehicle to take me to the city? Lu Yanzheng did not respond, nor did he relinquish his grip. After a few moments of silence, he asked, can you not remain with the Alliance forces? If you dislike working in a hospital, can I like it? I released my hold, avoiding any further contact, and smiled. I will be pursuing my graduate studies while working in clinical practice. This way, even if it is not a battlefield, I can still help many people. Lu Yanzheng gazed at me intently, as if seeing my smile for the first time. General Lu? He paused momentarily, then carried his luggage down the stairs, stating, I will escort you. Lu Yanzheng took me to a hotel near the military hospital, paying for a week's stay. After placing my belongings in the room, he stood on the doormat, hesitating to speak. General Lu, it is getting late. Please drive carefully on your way back. Lu Yanzheng stood quietly, the dim light from the entryway casting a glow upon his shoulders. He spoke stiffly, your leg has not been massaged today. Feeling the room's temperature rise, I anxiously replied, I can manage on my own. You may leave. No one could command Lu Yanzheng. He approached me, insisting you must first apply heat. Can you guarantee that the technique and pressure will be correct? Lu Yanzheng blocked part of the light, casting his shadow over me. I can. I turned my head away, saying, I am a military doctor. Have you forgotten? The room fell silent for a few seconds, and I suddenly suggested, you may stay if you wish. Looking up, I noticed a spark in Lu Yanzheng's eyes. I continued, that way you can accompany me directly to register for the divorce tomorrow. Uncertain of the reason, I found that whenever the topic of divorce was broached, Lu Yanzheng would suddenly become preoccupied. That night, upon checking into the hotel, he claimed to have a meeting early the next morning. In the following days, he would message me to inquire about my well-being, yet always refused my requests to expedite the divorce, citing his busy schedule. Consequently, I had already commenced work at the military hospital for a week, and General Lu still had not found the time to finalize the divorce. Just as I contemplated seeking Commander Lu for an expedited resolution through the council, Lu Yanzheng unexpectedly arrived at the hospital. At that moment, I was engaged in conversation with an alpha doctor. Upon raising my gaze, I spotted Lu Yanzheng standing in the corridor with a cold, stern expression, his gaze fixed intently on the alpha doctor beside me. After bidding farewell to the alpha doctor with a smile, I approached Lu Yanzheng and inquired, have you come to discuss the divorce? His expression darkened further, and with a furrowed brow, he glanced at the floor, stating, I am unwell and have come to see a doctor. However, there are military doctors available at the base. I tilted my head to observe his face, asking, is it a serious illness? His face indeed appeared somewhat flushed. Lu Yanzheng raised a hand to cover his mouth, coughing lightly, and explained, it's just a cold. I stood upright, hands tucked into the pockets of my white coat, stating earnestly, it seems rather wasteful of resources for a general to drive 2 hours to a crowded military hospital for a cold, General Lu. I want you to treat me. I was momentarily taken aback, inevitably recalling the past. He had always been the first to notice when he was injured. Even from a distance, I could hear his suppressed coughs, and I would hand the cold medicine to his bodyguard. But now I replied, General Lu, you should register for an appointment with internal medicine. Observing his frozen expression, I added, I am now a surgeon and cannot treat you. With that, I walked directly toward the office. As we brushed past each other, I felt my arm gently grasped. Xiao Yu. With great exertion, Lu Yanzheng seemed to utter those 2 words. He spoke softly, tinged with pain. In truth, I merely wish to see you. Why do you wish to see me? Pondered. Perhaps it was merely a habit formed after our enforced pairing. However, if we were to part ways, it should be done decisively. Thus, I calmly replied, General Lu, I kindly ask you to arrange for our divorce registration at your earliest convenience. Let us cease these futile endeavors. Shortly after that day, Lu Yanzheng visited the hospital once more, bearing a grievous injury visible down to the bone on his arm. We exchanged glances from opposite ends of the corridor. He spoke a few words to the doctor who rushed to his side, then turned to me, as if oblivious to the profuse bleeding from his wound. A faint scent of pine wafted through the air, igniting a warmth at the nape of my neck. The doctor contacted me over the intercom, stating, "Dr. Chow, General Liu has specifically requested your assistance for debridement and suturing." I gazed at Liu Yanzheng's dark silhouette and replied into the phone, "Please convey my apologies to General Liu. I am currently occupied with a surgery and lack the time." I hung up and proceeded directly to the elevator. As the doors closed, they shielded me from Liu Yanzheng's intense gaze and the pheromonal scent that seeped from his blood. Following this incident, I applied for a transfer to assist in a city within the Southern Theater Command. On the day my application was approved, I messaged Liu Yanzheng, "General Liu, I will be heading to the Southern Theater soon. Please attend the board meeting tomorrow morning to finalize our divorce." 2 hours passed without a response from Liu Yanzheng. I called him and the line connected swiftly. "General Liu, good day. Might I inquire if you are available tomorrow?" "Chow Yu," Liu Yanzheng interrupted. "Are you leaving because of me?" I hesitated briefly before answering, "Yes. The situation in the south is unstable." Liu Yanzheng's voice was strained as he continued, "I will agree to whatever you wish. Please do not go to the south, all right?" Standing in a secluded corridor, I felt his voice draw nearer through the phone. "Chow Yu." I heard the echo. Looking up, I saw Liu Yanzheng standing at the corner of the lower staircase, gazing up at me. "Chow Yu," he called again, his tone imbued with an unprecedented sense of compromise and supplication. "Please don't go, all right?" Whether it was from breathlessness or anxiety, his chest heaved violently, and the bandage on his right arm was seeping blood, revealing a crimson hue. I did not respond but instead asked, "Can we register the divorce tomorrow?" Liu Yanzheng pressed his lips together, struggling to speak. "Actually, I am aware of what you said to Jiang Huan," I interrupted, continuing, "You deny our relationship, believe his words, and think of me as a deserter. You even told him you wish to marry the Omega you love. Therefore, General Liu, please cease these meaningless actions. It is now I who do not trust you." Liu Yanzheng stared at me, his lips moving but no words emerging. As I turned to leave, he suddenly spoke. "All right, I will be there on time tomorrow. Thank you." I released a breath of relief, only to hear Liu Yanzheng's anguished apology. "I'm sorry." The following day, I arrived early at the board office, yet Liu Yanzheng was conspicuously absent. He did not respond to my texts and ignored my calls. As closing time approached, I received a call from Liu Yanzheng's bodyguard. "Dr. Chow, General Liu has been in a car accident and is severely injured. He cannot make it. He must be deceiving me. Liu Yanzheng is truly unreliable. Please inform General Liu that such juvenile tricks are outdated." I retorted angrily. "Tell him to come immediately to register." There was silence on the other end before the bodyguard choked out, "General Liu truly cannot attend." While I admired the bodyguard's exceptional acting skills, I stormed back to the hospital. Upon entering, I heard an urgent announcement over the intercom. "Emergency notification, all attending physicians from surgery, internal medicine, and ICU are to report to the emergency department immediately." My heart raced. As I donned my white coat and rushed to the emergency room, I grasped a colleague's arm, demanding, "What happened?" "It seems there was an accident," he replied as we ran. "A commander encountered several enemy soldiers holding hostages while driving into the city. The hostages were rescued, but he was struck by a vehicle. I heard he was barely clinging to life upon arrival. My heart skipped a beat, and I nearly collided with a passerby. "I'm sorry," I mumbled, but received no response. Suddenly, I recalled Liu Yanzheng's last words to me, "I'm sorry," and I had not responded. A sense of dread twisted within me. I furrowed my brow, realizing I had arrived at the emergency room doors. "Dr. Chow, please save the general." I was taken aback, staring blankly at Liu Yanzheng's bodyguard, whose face was streaked with tears. They instructed me to inform Commander Liu that the general is in critical condition. Felt like a blow to the head. I mechanically pushed open the emergency room door, assaulted by the overwhelming scent of pine. My vision was filled with crimson. Pools of Liu Yanzheng's blood lay everywhere. Such a loss could lead to death. My body felt feverish, and dizziness began to cloud my mind. The sounds of monitors and medical equipment created a cacophony, fading into a hazy background noise. I trudged forward, approaching Liu Yanzheng's pallid, serene face. I felt as though I called his name, yet no sound emerged. "Why must you leave me? We have yet to finalize our divorce. Surely you feigned this injury to avoid it, right? It must be that way. So let us not divorce, shall we? Please rise. Let us abandon this divorce, all right? Liu Yanzheng, how could you be so cruel? Why deny me even the chance to hate you and seek vengeance? My heart ached as if it were shattering. My glands throbbed painfully, as though scorched by fire. I slowly leaned closer to Yanzheng, allowing the fragrance of honeysuckle to mingle with the scent of pine. The monitor beside the bed displayed 3 flat lines. Someone had removed the respirator from Yanzheng's face. He had been abandoned. My alpha was forsaken. Yet, he remains my alpha. Thus, I drew near, bending down to gently kiss his forehead, his brow, the tip of his nose, and finally, his soft yet cool lips. Tears streamed down my cheeks, mingling with our kiss, rendering it damp. Suddenly, I heard a beep, followed by a chorus of beeps growing increasingly loud, pulling the surrounding chaos and gasps back into my ears. I looked up, stunned, to see the monitor displaying a rhythmic pattern once more. Soon after, I was pushed out of the resuscitation circle by my colleagues. When Yanzheng awoke, I happened to be by his side. Upon opening his eyes, he focused intently on me, struggling to speak. "You saved me." I nodded, my vision blurring instantly. "Do not cry," he murmured hoarsely. I hastily wiped my face and replied coolly, "These are tears of joy. Now that you are awake, we can proceed with the divorce." Yanzheng closed his eyes briefly, furrowing his brow. "You are not one to keep your promises? What do you mean?" He managed a difficult smile and softly remarked, "I heard everything you said in the emergency room. You mentioned that we wouldn't be getting a divorce." I retorted, "You too have broken your promises," declaring that you would certainly arrive on time for the registration that day. Yanzheng blinked and, with a charming demeanor, proposed, "I saved you once, you saved me once. I deceived you once, you deceived me once. Now we are even, shall we?" He extended his hand from under the blanket, gently entwining his pinky with mine. He said, "Greetings, I am Alpha Yanzheng, forcibly matched to you by the Alliance Council. It is a pleasure to have you as my Omega." Unable to suppress a smile, I replied, "Hello, I am Omega Chao Yu, also forcibly matched to you by the Alliance Council. I am quite displeased. I shall conceal the fact that you are my alpha until you earn my forgiveness." "Very well," Yanzheng responded, "as you wish." The end of the narrative. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next story.